What are some of the stories? Give us a few of the stories from the book that really stand out for you in terms of how that shows the examples in the best way. Is there anything that stands out?
I'm going to give you a story that's not in the book, a bonus story.
Yeah, like that.
Uh, when I went to Stanford Business School, I cooked dinner for my roommates every night. And every night we sat down at this little 17-inch black and white TV set and watched Hawaii Five-O reruns. We saw every Hawaii Five-O episode. I don't know if you remember Hawaii Five-O,
I do.
but there was an evil villain named Wo Fat. He had a haircut like mine, but he was a fat guy, and he was the evilest. Well, I heard a rumor a year or two later that the actor who played him, named Kai Dai, was running a Buddhist monastery in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I just filed it away. And a year after that, my grandparents retired and moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. And this is a good way to end each individual story. My grandfather went out to play golf and dropped dead on after
Wow.
18 holes. So if you're going to drop dead, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So
In
I went to
Scottsdale. Yeah.
in Scottsdale. So I went to Scottsdale to help my grandmother to pack things up. And there was like a few hours of downtime. So I picked up the phone and I called the Happy Buddha Chinese restaurant where I had heard that Kai Dai was a co-owner. And I called up and I said, does Kai Dai ever come by? And it turned out the rumors were correct. There was no internet in those days. The rumors were correct. So I went there to have a bowl of rice with him and meet him. And I was just a fanboy, right? I was 26 years old or whatever. And I walked in, and this guy, who had nothing to gain from his interaction with me, looked at me and said, is something troubling you? And I told him about my grandfather. And for half an hour, he sat with me for no upside for him. And we just talked. There was nothing in it for him other than the art of causing positive change, other than the opportunity with no system on his behalf, with no official authority. He had the opportunity to reach out and make change. He knew he was never going to see me again, and he knew that I wasn't going to send him a donation. It was just one person interacting with another. And that is the kind of art that sticks with people.
Mm.
It doesn't show up when you want it to, it shows up when it wants to, and you got to look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah, that's really good. And talk about the whole idea of being generous. And I know that's for you. That's been something that you've done on a continuous basis. But talk about the book in terms of how you lay that out. And then I also want to have you talk too about even the way that you've approached the book getting out and the way that you created some contribution money for the Acumen Fund.
All right, well, here's the trick. You can't have art if you're going to sell it. The minute you sell your art, it's not art, it's business, it's
Mm.
commerce. Once we have a financial transaction, even Steven, we're done. I gave you something, you gave me something, we have pushed each other apart. And what Lewis Hyde talks about in a great book called The Gift is the origin of the ban on usury in the Old Testament and then in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, the deal was you may not charge interest if
Hmm.
you loan someone money. Now, what they meant was if you loan someone money in your tribe, that loaning money to a stranger, you can charge interest. But within the tribe, no interest. Why? Because it brings the tribe closer together. Now you are rooting for the other person to succeed. And interest drives people away. And if we look at the Protestant Reformation, what Lewis Hyde points out is that the reason it spread is because the Catholic Church said you weren't allowed to charge interest, but the Protestant Church said you could. So the princes in the church and the local barons loved that because they wanted to make money charging interest. And what that did was lead to industrial Europe and industrial then America, because without being able to charge interest, you can't build factories and you can't treat people like cogs. So that led to the demise of this artistic generosity and created this culture of get what you pay for. So all artists do the work they do as a gift. Now you can charge for the souvenir. You can charge for the painting that hangs on the wall because that's just the ownership piece of the art. But anyone who sees the art gets it for free. Anyone who hears the song on the radio gets it for free.
Yeah.
Anyone who's counseled by you gets it for free. And so this distinction becomes really important. And the act of doing it for free feels strange, but it demands now that you're doing art because you're saying to yourself, why else would I do this? I'm doing it for free. There better be something in it for me. And what's in it for me is the feeling I get when I cause change for you.
Wow. Oh, so how have you seen that for you, Seth? Like, because obviously, again, this is something that you live out in terms of your art and even the idea of being generous. Talk about the way that you even started this book, because I want people to understand that story,
Sure.
because that's a fascinating way to sort of approach a book launch.
Well, why do I have a blog? How do I make money from my blog? I hate it when people say, how do you make money from your blog? What they should ask me is, how much would you be willing to pay for the privilege of writing your blog? My blog is a platform for me to do something I love to do. And everybody who reads it makes me happy. I would never run an ad. Pimp out my readers to make $100, what would that be for?
Yeah.
So the blog is a platform, it's an opportunity, it's not a job. And I'm hoping that people can look at a lot of things they do in their life that way. So what I did with the book, can you pass me one, Shita? What I did with the book is, here it is, right here.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Is I didn't want to do the usual thing where you get in line behind all the other authors and you try to get someone at the New York Times, someone at Forbes, and someone at Business Week to review it. Number one, they're decreasing in power. Number two, they're losing their jobs. And number three, the line is getting longer. So instead, I said, why don't I trust my readers? So I wanted to let anybody who likes my work, anyone who wants to hear me, write a review of the book and send them a review copy. But of course, I can't afford to send a printed book to everyone in the world. So I said, how am I going to find out who's serious and who's not? Well, you could charge them. But the minute I charge them, now we're doing that transaction thing again.
Right.
I send you a book, you send me money, we're even. I didn't want to be even. I wanted to do something generous. So what I said was, give $30 or more to Acumen Fund, one of my favorite charities. And if you do that, then at my expense, I'll mail you a book 3 weeks before anybody else. And so more than 2,300, 2,500 people did that. And we mailed out the books January 4th or 5th. And it made me very nervous because here you are going to amateurs, each of whom has a platform, and saying,
Right.
here, no warning. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. There's no spin. There's no pitch. I'm not customizing it for you. Take it. Write about it if you want. And I've just been blown away. I mean, literally thousands of tweets, almost 100 blog posts that I've seen so far reviewing the book. It's touching people. And part of the reason it worked, I think, is because I didn't say pay me for this. I said, here, write about it if you want.
Yeah, and you raised over $100,000 for the Acumen Fund through that process.
Which is a really nice side effect, exactly.
Yeah.